It's been more than a year since I did a video on SoFi, and now it's finally time to revisit this stock and see what's going on. Back then, stock price was 5 something. It has barely moved since then, now up to 647. They had a lot of problems with dilution, they didn't have debt, and revenue was a question. How fast was revenue growth? I've already taken a look at all of these things, and we've seen 2 positives and 1 negative. Let's get right into it. Let's start with the negative real quick. So we're seeing in terms of the debt, they have done some debt financing. This was virtually nothing in the past, back in 2022, 2020. We've seen some increases here, although long-term debt has been paid down. So it's at 2.8 billion. Now we can take that and compare to the market cap here of 6.84 billion. So we add those together, and then we have the enterprise value if we subtract cash as well. Not super relevant for this stock. It's more relevant to take a look at revenue and profits. So in terms of revenue, I remember they had 1,000 something. So this is millions of dollars, so 1 billion something here in the past when we looked at it in 2021 for the full year. And then we're seeing in terms of revenue now, they almost got the same amount here just last quarter. So revenue growth that used to be a question mark is not a question mark anymore. They've seen fantastic growth, almost tripling here for the year of 2023. So they really delivered. What about shares outstanding? They were diluting shareholders into oblivion in the past, basically. But for now, we can see that, alright, they do not dilute anymore. We can see here that in terms of shares outstanding, it was 900 something when we looked at it in the past, and now it's millions of shares, 1,000 millions of shares. All right, that's basically a billion in this case, a billion shares outstanding from 900 million. So just small dilution. They financed with debt, but debt has been paying down. They've had some profitability here as well in the last 2 quarters. And this is the first time when we look at them that they have a positive earnings per share 2 quarters in a row. So that's quite interesting. We can look at the track record here. If we scroll down a bit, we can see that they've had some zeros and some positive quarters, but never 2 positive quarters in a row. And now they have barely profitability here for the latest 2 quarters. So very interesting for SoFi. Is this a trend or is it just a fluke? We've seen fantastic increases in revenue growth, although profitability has not kept up, and profitability has been quite low for this company. So will they be able to scale this like we've seen other growth companies do? Remember when Tesla turned earnings per share positive, they were able to scale it quite quickly. We've seen some other companies in the growth sector such as Palantir turn EPS positive. So is this something that will scale now, or will it not happen? That's a question for us as investors to ask ourselves. Although I have to comment one thing as well regarding share price. It's been under pressure here recently, and we've seen a major shareholder, I think it was the investment fund of Qatar, sell out. And for someone who's familiar with the culture, I wonder why they were invested to begin with, since this company is dealing with interest rates and the lending part, and that's not in line with the culture and philosophy in the Middle East. If you have an Islamic bank, it does not charge interest rates. So for example, if you're in a country like Morocco, you can take a car loan and you will not be charged interest rate on that loan. So substantial selling pressure from the investment fund selling out. It was also a board member, so there could have been some disagreement between management, other board members, and the board member here in question as to the direction of the company, causing this big drop in share price, causing this big spike in sales, a lot of volume, a lot of down pressure. And we need to remember that in the short term, the stock market is a voting machine, but in the long term, it's a weighing machine. And I understand that shareholders of this stock must be disappointed. I'm a bit disappointed in my own growth stocks, especially for these last 2 quarters as well. You must have been invested in the big technology companies to have had fantastic results so far this year. It's basically the Nvidias, the Apples, Metas, Amazons, and Alphabets, these companies that have had good performance, whereas SoFi, just like a lot of other growth stocks, are not seeing performance. I think this will be a reversal towards the mean in the future as well, because the numbers now, this is not the same company as it was a year ago. They have almost tripled the revenue and they have a slight profitability and they are not diluting shares anymore. So I actually bought a little bit of this stock for the first time now, just a tiny amount here, still focusing on building that 100k dividend portfolio and buying the MPW. I will be buying some Philip Morris once I have 10,000 shares of MPW. And as soon as I'm done with that, to balance out, because I only have growth stocks in my main portfolio, so as soon as I have some dividend to be able to stabilize consumption in paths where the stock market is a lot more volatile, I will once again look more at growth stocks. And then indeed SoFi is right now a contender to take part in that portfolio. I've been waiting very patiently. I've been checking in on this stock, and now more than a year later I see a buying opportunity and I've taken a small stake in the company. And if this stock continues to trade sideways once I'm done building up that dividend portfolio, well, then I will buy more into this company. So I hope you enjoyed this update. We took a look at the revenue growth. It was good. We took a look at the debt situation. Clearly they financed the business with debt. It ballooned a bit, but now it's down back again. And we took a look at the share situation with the dilution. And don't get me wrong, 10% something plus increase in shares over a year, it's still not good, but it's on the right path. We're seeing this slowdown in dilution. This was a major worry for me when I looked at this stock more than a year ago. It was something that I was worried about. But now, more than a year later, I think that this is not a red flag anymore. It's a light orange, almost green flag in this case. And that's why, together with this fantastic revenue growth, I think that this stock now has some good future prospects to have above market returns in the short to mid-term. Interesting stock. I will definitely check in on it again soon to see how this drama plays out with a major shareholder leaving, and to see if we get some buying pressure. Then I think that the stock has the potential to be a bit more expensive, but hopefully it trades sideways a bit, so I'm able to build up that dividend portfolio and have the time to take a stake in this company as well. Alright, that's been it for this video, and as always, hope you make a ton of money, whatever investments you decide to make. Take care now, bye bye.